You're inside the Mouse Castle with Tim and Anthony. Visit us at themousecastle.com. Follow the Mouse Castle on Facebook and Inside the MC on Twitter. Inside the Mouse Castle is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. Soon, you'll understand why. Here's Tim and Anthony.
Welcome inside the Mouse Castle. I'm Tim Calloway.
And I'm Anthony Reynolds. It is December 21st, 2015. Remember when this date was supposed to be the end of the world?
Yes, it wasn't.
We're here?
Yeah, you can't destroy the world when there's a Star Wars movie, in the mix. But anyway,
oh crap, that was this week.
We'll get to that. We are your weekly dose of Disney news, information, and commentary. And golly gee, Anthony, what's coming up in today's show?
It is our Star Wars spoiler spectacular.
Every spoiler that we can think of, we are going to divulge. So if you don't want to find out, if you are among the handful of people who didn't see it this weekend.
Yeah, there's going to be all spoilers, guys.
Yeah. So
this is your warning.
Right.
If you haven't seen the movie, turn it off now. Because I promise you this, after the quick break we're going to have where we play the little theme song, I'm going to come back right out of it with a spoiler.
Yes.
We're gonna kick it right off.
That's right. Just get it right out there in the open and go from there.
Have they been warned, Tim?
They have been sufficiently warned. Spoilers. There be spoilers ahead. Arr.
This movie's been out now, though, for like 3 days. It shouldn't matter.
Yes.
They should have seen it already. I don't care. No pity.
Count Thursday. 4 days.
4 days. So we're gonna spoil the hell out of this movie. That's all next inside the Mouse Castle. Han Solo was dead to begin with.
I know. Okay, your first reaction when you were sitting in the theater, the first of the 4 times that you saw it over the weekend.
Yeah, I've seen it 4 times now. Depending when you edit it, it should be 4.
How did that affect you? What was the first thing that you thought?
It was hopelessness. I knew. I think it got to a point where we knew that was going to happen. We all knew it was coming.
Yes.
But we all still hoped that it wouldn't, and when it finally did, you felt that blade.
We were talking it over with friends in a little Facebook group that we have, and we pretty much were all in agreement that when 2 people go out on a catwalk like that, only one of them's coming back alive.
It's bad news.
Yes.
And I've seen this thing 4 times, and every subsequent viewing I go, okay, maybe this time.
I know. It's like Clue. It's like Star Wars Clue, where they do 4 different endings.
Yeah. No, because like every time I watch it, I swear he's almost convinced a little bit more good to go back to the light side.
Yes, he grips the lightsaber just a little bit more tentatively, right? He's not going to skewer Dad with the lightsaber.
It's like, you know what? They started draining the sun about 20 minutes later so that it didn't go completely black at that point in time.
Right.
And there was just enough light outside to convince him to, go and have lunch at Wendy's or something with Mom and Dad.
Exactly. Well, the number of people that witnessed the demise of Han Solo and a few other things happened in the movie, which we'll also talk about. The box office take, the amount of business that Star Wars The Force Awakens did, not just domestically, but worldwide, keeps breaking record after record after record. By the time you hear this, it will have broken additional box office records. And Hypeable, the entertainment site, did this absolutely perfect infographic to break down exactly the type of business that Star Wars did over the weekend. So as of the time that we're recording this, Star Wars The Force Awakens had the biggest Thursday preview gross ever at $57 million. It had the biggest Friday and the biggest single day gross ever at $120.5 million. This is all in the U.S.
So the highest Friday?
The highest Friday.
Of all movies?
Of all movies. and the biggest single day gross of all movies. The first film ever to have a single day over $100 million, and back that up one step, it beat that by $20.5 million. And I mean, it had already had in excess of $100 million in advance ticket sales anyway. The fastest film ever to 100 million and 200 million. Biggest December debut ever. And I mean, this is staggering. I mean, because it took in what, like 240 million, something like that, over the entire weekend. You know what the previous record was? $84.6 million. So
Star Wars was what?
It was 3 times higher than the movie that was in second place.
Damn, do we know what that movie is?
We do not, and I'm looking
Googling
at the infographic, and I don't see it, but it's in there in the notes somewhere. You can Google it while we're talking.
So I'm not gonna Google it now.
Okay.
Internet, if you want to find it, people, look it up.
It's there. The biggest IMAX Thursday night ever for a preview. Biggest single day IMAX. Biggest weekend in IMAX. And the highest theater average for wide release, and that was $57,000 per theater.
That is Boffo bucks there.
And it's going to keep going. And it's doing it exactly the way that the previous good Star Wars films did, is repeat viewings. I mean, you've seen it multiple times. We have plenty of friends who have done that. I managed to just fit in one screening. I saw it on Thursday night, but I have plans to see at least 2 more times in theaters.
And here's the thing. I've seen it 4 times. The damn thing's only been out a weekend.
I know. I mean, that absolutely obliterates your record with Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw that movie 4 times, but that was within its entire run.
Yeah, that was like over like a few months.
A month or 2, yeah. Well, I just walked out of the theater today, Tim, and it just happened to be another one just starting.
And it's like, oh, what the hell? I'm here anyway.
It'd be rude to say no, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I got nothing going on. This laundry pile will wait.
That's right. That's right. It's Star Wars The Force Awakens, man. It's episode 7.
Yes, and I still get goosebumps every time the Star Wars logo starts and the crawl begins.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and it's the thing that is so awesome about this too is the audience experience. It's that shared experience, especially in your case, the first time you saw it, where everybody in the theater is seeing it for the first time, and I mean, this collective gasp comes up, you know, when you see A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, and then
half the theaters clap.
Yes. Oh yeah. And the theater claps. We had a good audience too. I've heard of some people that were kind of annoyed that they felt like they were the only ones in the audience that were really engaged with what was going on and were reacting to everything. But the screening that I went to, good audience, you know, applauded every single time we saw a familiar character, you know, on screen for the first time. How have the reactions been for the Han Solo dies scene? The screening I went to, the theater actually got very quiet. And there was a little muttering going on. It was like that, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. But not any real emotional reaction. Everyone kind of kept it to themselves, but you could feel that stunned silence in the audience.
The first night I went, which was that Thursday, there was a gasp, I think. But no, everything, because that's why I like going multiple times, is because I get to experience each audience's first time going. So you get different reactions every time. But no, it's been quiet after the Han Solo death, which I would be expecting more of an outcry or, oh no, or something. But no, it just quiet.
Our social media goddess, Becky, wailed.
Yeah, you can hear her at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
You could. No! It was so funny. Becky is a huge Han Solo fan, a huge Harrison Ford fan. She was the first person I thought of when I saw that scene. It's like, oh my God, that's just breaking Becky's heart right now. I mean, I hurt for her. because I know what a moment that would have been for her.
And we haven't even touched on his son is the villain.
How cool is that?
And I like how they delivered that news so matter-of-factly. Just, your father's there, Han Solo. Like, that was a twist we weren't even expecting to have, and we got it.
And that was, I mean, that really is the great thing about this movie. And you and I talked about this a little bit before we started recording, is you were the person that was absolutely obsessed with not finding out or reading up or seeing anything about The Force Awakens other than the trailers, the three official, the official theatrical trailer. Whereas I was the one that was, I was kind of getting into reading up on what the entertainment sites were saying and the speculation and all of that. And the cool thing is that even with all of that and with all the speculation, there was nothing in that movie that I felt I had ruined for me, which I appreciated. And I appreciated, there was a handful of assholes out there, but people generally were good on the internet about not giving away the spoilers in the movie.
I have to give credit on the website Reddit. God, I feel like I'm rhyming right now and I hate it.
You're a poet and you don't know it.
The Star Wars subreddit was actually one of the safest places for spoilers. The moderator team there was like on point and still remained to be so. That was amazing to me because they had a whole thread of warnings of people of which threads are spoiling the movie. Like, don't go into this thread if you don't want it spoiled. And they also put out a warning that if you mention you've been avoiding spoilers, there's a group of people on Reddit messaging you spoilers.
I mean, shoot, did you see?
I've been doing it.
Did you see the interview that Harrison Ford had given where he basically told whoever the media person was talking to him, it's like, don't do it. It's like, don't give anything away. Don't spoil it for people who've paid good money to go to the theater to get that experience. And I mean, that meme has been circling around, and the little GIF clip has been circling around with Han Solo saying, "No, don't do it." And if Harrison Ford tells you to do that, you don't do that.
Yeah, well, look where his character is now.
Yeah, I know. See where that got him. He's dead. All right. So anyway, so we've got the big reveal out of the way. Let's talk about the other stuff and the build up that got us there to begin with. I don't even know where to start. I'll be honest. We could start at the beginning.
At the very beginning.
Let's start at the
very good place to start.
That is a very good place to start. I was very disappointed that Max von Sydow had such a short role in the movie.
He was there and then he was not in there.
I know, and he was kind of the one thing that I kept seeing over and over again in the film is J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote the script, went out of their way for this story to mirror or parallel as much as possible the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope.
Yeah, it followed the same kind of structure, but throughout there, I mean, there were references to all three movies in there.
Yes.
Which I thought was really well done. But I mean, and that a lot of people complain about that. I've been reading, which I understand those complaints, but I'm kind of glad it was the way it was.
I think they had to do it that way, and it was very important, as J.J. Abrams had said, as George Lucas had even said, that this was a movie that was clearly made for the fans, and so they threw in as many familiar elements as they could, brought in as many familiar characters as they could, did a terrific job of setting up the new characters and the path that they're going to go on in at least the next two films. I think it was important for J.J. Abrams and all the parties involved to kind of get this one out of the way. It's like, we have to do it this way because this is the Star Wars movie that you guys have been clamoring for years. And by doing this, it opens the door wide open to now do whatever they want with the story. And I think that is really exciting.
I mean, as referential as it was to the previous movies, it never at any point lost its own voice. And it was still, I mean, it was different enough that at no point did it feel like a ripoff. But it left you just wanting to continue the story.
Yes.
Because even though the beginning is very similar, you can tell where it's going from here won't be.
Yes.
It'll be an entirely different journey going forward.
Yeah, well, and you've got this, 30-year gap since Return of the Jedi. And the thing that I find so amusing that, in that 30-year gap, we're still concerned that Luke Skywalker is missing. Okay, he still matters. And the thing that the film did not fill in, and I'm sure intentionally, is there's so many backstories here of, we got little hints of it that Luke Skywalker was trying to lead a new Jedi Order and Kylo Ren has screwed that up. And we know of family issues existing with Han, Leia, and now their son, Ben. Oh, what an interesting name for their son, Ben.
I thought it was cool about how in the middle of the movie, all the solos were in an episode of Maury.
Yes.
And they were fighting about their family stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that scene would take away, but I think it actually added a lot to it.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that was bad. So anyway, so there's, we've picked up the story 30 years later, but we're hoping at least that
a new hoping
that some of these gaps, some of these, there's backstories, a lot of backstory needs to be filled in here. And I'm hoping that we find this out gradually over the next two films.
Like, my brother had texted me, how did Maz have the lightsaber?
Yes.
They allude to the story, but we don't know that story. Last we saw it was dropped off Cloud City.
Right.
So there's many gaps to fill in.
And somehow this space pirate, who I likened to a combination, she's like a little Yoda pirate. And then we had a mutual friend chime in with, she's like a combination of Yoda and Edna Mode, which I thought was absolutely dead on.
I loved her.
Great character.
She was an amazing character.
Yeah. And
so well animated.
And not what you expected when you hear the term space pirate. You have this little, tiny alien creature with big spectacles, goggles, and who, with the voice of Lupita Nyong'o, who speaks nothing but wisdom the whole time.
She just seemed so friendly.
Yes, she was great. She really was.
And and like I said, the animation on that was really well done, which
it was
makes or breaks.
Yeah, I mean, it was motion capture. I mean, it was Lupita Nyong'o had had all those little dots on her face. So I mean, that's her performance. But
the way that it looked real was
very
good.
Much so.
Yeah.
That's something that has certainly advanced and improved since Jar Jar.
God.
But this is the great thing about the film is that obviously there's a ton of CG in it and absolutely necessary. But God bless J.J. Abrams for using practical effects whenever it was possible.
That in itself just improved the movie tenfold.
Yeah. I mean, when you see all the creatures on Jakku are real, they're puppets, they're mechanical creatures, operated however they're operated, but they're all real. They're not
Even
animation.
BB-8.
BB-8 is oh my god.
The bomb diggity.
No kidding. No kidding. I was thinking about this though. What exactly does BB-8 do? BB-8 is like more of a pet than a droid, than a useful robot. But he's so damn cute.
When we put him in the X-wing, I think he serves a purpose more so, like any other R2 unit.
Right.
But no, not as useful out and about, I guess. But I like it.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't help but like it, and obviously this is the cute little critter, since R2-D2 slept through the whole movie.
I have a theory on that.
Let's talk about that one, because of the handful of criticisms that have been directed at the movie, and I think what is it? It's most people are raving about it. It's got like an A rating on Cinema Score and 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
But where the film seems to be drawing criticism is the whole R2-D2 thing, where he's got that piece of the map where Luke Skywalker is, or he's got the major piece of the map. How convenient for him to wake up when he does.
My theory is it's not convenient because Luke willed it. Because he went dark after Luke left. So I'm thinking Luke had something to do with R2 shutting down until the time was right. And once Rey got into the picture, Han died, he felt all that, felt the awakening in the Force, and decided now's the time to bring Rey to me. And then got R2 somehow to wake up with the Force, and then put everything in motion.
I like that theory.
That is my theory. I don't have the right words for it. It could be a lot prettier than how I put it.
No, I think you nailed it. I think I can go with that. Yeah, but they say, it's the whole, God in the machine mechanism that you get a lot in storytelling, where just kind of
droid ex machina.
Yeah, there you go. Just out of the blue, we're going to do this now not because it's kind of organic to the plot, but because, we need to do this right now to move the story forward.
See, and like I said, I don't feel it's out of the blue. I feel that it was all meant to happen when it happened, and Luke was in charge of that. Because Luke could have remained unfound if he wanted to.
Yeah, that's very true. Now I have a serious question here. How much longer is he going to stand on that frickin' island with Rey having her outstretched hand holding the lightsaber? I mean, that lasted for about 5 minutes. I swear to God.
Some say they're still waiting.
I know.
They're still staring. And keep in mind, this happened a long time ago.
In a galaxy far away.
No, I liked the BBC nature documentary helicopter shot of them.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But they just stand there, and I understand that they're doing it for dramatic effect. But I'm thinking, how much longer? How stupid must she feel just standing there holding this damn lightsaber while her father, stares at her?
What I want to do when this movie comes out or leaks out or whatever, I want to make an edit where it's that scene minus the music.
And it just drags on forever.
How awkward would it be?
No,
do you think Rey is the daughter?
Absolutely.
Of Skywalker? You
Absolutely.
Think so?
Absolutely.
I also noticed this. I think there's more to Rey that everybody knows, except for her. I think Han Solo knows, and I think Kylo Ren knows as well. Because there's 2 points in the movie. The one is after he has his spaz attack, where he's like attacking the wall with his lightsaber.
He does that twice. Which one?
The one, then he asked the guy, was there anything else?
Oh, okay.
And he said that they're with a girl. He freaked out huge over the fact, what girl? Like he knew about a girl out there and wanted to make sure it wasn't that one, which it sounds like it was.
Yeah, it's his
cousin. They cut away. Mm-hmm. And then there's another part where, where Han is at the bar with Maz, and Maz goes, "Who's the girl?" And then it just cuts. So you don't hear those conversations. But I feel like there's story that I feel like people are telling the stories.
Yeah, and
not seeing them.
And there is that feel to the movie. I mean, very much like just the previews leading up to it is, we're going to tell you just enough. We're not going to tell you the whole thing because this story is going to play out for 2 more movies. So we're going to mess with you a little bit.
They didn't even scratch the surface of this.
I know, and if they're going to do it this way, as long as they deliver the story as satisfactorily as they did in The Force Awakens, I'm all for it. I think that's a fantastic way to bring out the story and to engage the audience.
Yeah, because it left me wanting to know more about these characters that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like Finn was great. We got really small doses of Poe. I feel we didn't get to see a whole lot of him.
At the very beginning of the movie, you get his kind of devil-may-care, kind of Han Solo attitude.
That was my thing, is that I think with Han Solo out,
he's gonna fill the void. The whole who talks first. Do you talk first? Do I talk first? I thought that was a great line. That's a great moment.
He's like if Han Solo was an optimist.
Yes, very much so.
He just seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah. Han Solo was deep down inside a cynic. He really was. He was not. He was, very self-centered. But Poe, on the other hand, believes in the cause. He's as cocky and as arrogant a pilot as Han Solo ever was, but very much more upbeat.
Yeah. Like he's the cool guy at the party just welcoming everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's so happy to see that everybody showed up.
Yeah. Let's save the rebellion. But I thought that was kind of interesting, where the prequel, got so bogged down in the politics of the universe and the empire and whatever, but this one kind of alludes to the politics. It's like, okay, we have a republic, and then we have this first order, which is whatever's left of the empire making a resurgence, but then you've also got the rebellion. But I'm thinking you can't call it a rebellion because they're rebelling against the bad guys. They're on the side of the good guys. The resistance. I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong term. They're not the rebellion. It's the resistance. But I'm thinking, so the republic is the United States of America. The first order is ISIS, and the resistance is anonymous.
What? That's weird. You got really political with it there.
I know, but isn't that was like the parallel I was looking at there. It's like, oh my God, this actually plays out in real life.
I just don't get why we need to have the Republic and the Resistance.
Yeah, see, I didn't quite understand the whole dynamic there and why it was necessary. Why doesn't the Republic just go in and wipe out the First Order? Why do you need to have these basically mercenaries working for you to fight on your behalf?
God, this movie sucked.
But but these are the little things that you think about when you are so engaged in the film. And there wasn't a moment in the movie that I didn't love, but it certainly makes you think. It's like, okay, is this all really making sense? Do I really like what they're doing here?
I think it's fine.
I know, and this is what this episode is all about, and this is what message boards and social media and podcasts everywhere. We're all doing this right now. We're all going a little bonkers and overanalyzing, and picking at every single detail that we can possibly pick at, and it's fun. And it's fun. It's exciting to be this involved in a movie.
I just loved it so much. I'm so happy.
I know. It's like there's this absolutely feeling of giddiness that overcame me. And I am a Star Wars fan, but I don't consider myself on the level of Star Wars fans. But I mean, the emotion, this feeling of absolute glee that just washed over me as I'm watching this movie. It was unlike anything I think I've ever experienced in a movie theater.
It was just, everybody's so happy. I mean, I love the Star Wars community so much more than the Star Trek community.
How so?
Star Wars just seems more light and fun and accepting. I mean, we hate the same things, we love the same things, but we are there till the end.
That's very true.
Star Trek fans just seem like all they do is complain.
We'll have to talk to our friend Scott about that, who's a very heavy duty Star Trek fan.
I mean, not like him personally, but like as a whole, it's like Star Trek fans, a movie comes out, and the first thing out of the mouth is complaints. With Star Wars, we're just like, oh my god, that was amazing. But, or we'll be like, it's just good to see a Star Wars.
Yes, very much, very much. Well, let's talk about some of the other newcomers to the cast. We talked about Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, which is a great character and really a good performance. Rey, Daisy Ridley, who is something that is basically unheard of, other than Princess Leia, in a Star Wars movie, is a strong female protagonist. I mean, she is, her story arc parallels that of Luke Skywalker. And she does an amazing job in this movie.
I love that character. And I didn't expect to like her so much. I mean, I don't know, but no, Daisy Ridley just won me over hardcore in this one.
Yes. Yeah. She's absolutely charming, and she's a badass too.
And I think she serves as a really good like catalyst for the audience to kind of view the movie from.
Yes.
Because you're excited for her as the movie kind of goes on, and it's like when she succeeds, you feel a little bit of that as well.
Very much so. Absolutely. And John Boyega, Finn is a great character. He's a coward. I mean, he starts out that way. I mean, I loved that side of him. We get introduced to this character who, has an attack of conscience as a stormtrooper, and is doing everything in his power to get away from it, and wants nothing to do with the cause or anything else. He just wants to save his own ass. That's all he really wants early on in the film. And you see this great transformation as he suddenly, realizes what he's getting caught up in and what really matters. Again, another great story arc, another terrific performance. John Boyega has just got personality and charisma to spare.
And he knows his way around a lightsaber for somebody who's not force sensitive.
Very much so. And he knows an awful lot about stormtrooper tactics for a janitor.
Yeah.
That's a question a lot of people have brought up.
He's just good with brooms.
He is, I guess so. And he knows how, star killers are constructed.
Yeah, that was weird. Even Han Solo questioned that.
I'm sure we'll find out more about him. And again, kind of getting back to what we discussed earlier, it seems that for all that we have learned about these characters, we know so very little about these characters. And it's like, how does Finn know as much as he does for a guy whose background is in sanitation, even though he's wearing full stormtrooper gear?
Well, maybe he was just like, they all have to be battle ready, but he was just a janitor as well. Everybody has a job.
I guess that's what he does on the side.
But that was his first battle that he pussed out on.
Yeah, he just didn't want to get involved in it. One more request for episode 8. Can we please have more Captain Phasma? Thank you.
I guess that was all right. That was weird because you thought that was going to be a big baddie.
Yeah,
and
she's just a drone in the military system, and that was a little disappointing. Because Gwendolyn Christie is awesome. And if you've seen any of the interviews that she's done, and if you're familiar with her at all from Game of Thrones, she's an awesome person, just a delightful personality. And it's like, I felt that as much of a buildup too as that character was getting, it seemed to be kind of wasted. So I'm hoping that we see a lot more of her in the coming films. And it already has been announced, that the major characters from The Force Awakens are going to be back for episode 8. That's what I found interesting. Now, when I read the article, it was published, and I cannot remember off the top of my head which news site I saw it on. There's a legitimate news site, so this wasn't just a hack story. But it was confirmed by Kathleen Kennedy that the major characters or the actors, performers, were going to be back for episode 8. Now, obviously, she's going to say that and not say everyone's going to be back except Harrison Ford because we killed him. so there's that, but there's also the possibility that we're going to see Harrison Ford in episode 8.
What? Where did I read something? I think it was on Reddit. I don't have a citation, so it could be very well wrong. But apparently, during shooting at one point, Harrison Ford was sitting in a chair and looked at Kathleen Kennedy and said, "I don't want to die." Like, he was having such a good experience that he changed his mind on the whole thing.
Yeah, I think maybe the difference is working for Kathleen Kennedy as opposed to working for George Lucas, because he told George Lucas at one point, "I want to die."
Several times.
Yes.
And then he talked about his character a little bit.
Exactly.
I love that we got a nice, like a Han Solo-centric movie.
Yes.
Fine, that was it. That is huge fan service.
Absolutely. And say it again. I mean, this was a movie that was made for the fans and gave them everything they wanted. I didn't felt like anything was missing, and I was thoroughly entertained, and I was giddy. I can't wait to see it again.
Did you cry?
I did. I did not cry. I was touched. I was moved. I did not cry. I was.
Oh man, I teared up a few times. I was like already teared up when Star Wars, the words came on the screen.
Oh yeah. I felt just like this rush of it's just, you can't put it into words. It's giddy. It's what it was.
It's just that first trumpet blast. You're just like, ah,
mm-hmm.
It's happening.
I know. It really is. It really is. Let's talk about the bad guy. Let's talk about Kylo Ren.
Ooh.
Adam Driver.
I hate the Showgirls so much. And he, of course, is in that show quite a bit, but I hate that show. Have you seen that show?
I have not.
Oh my god, it's such a steaming pile of shit. And all the critics love it.
Okay. But what do you think of Adam Driver as Kylo Ren?
Oh, man. His character on Girls? No, I'm just kidding. Kylo Ren is a very interesting sort.
I think it's interesting to see a villain that doesn't quite have it together. I mean, when you think of Darth Vader post Anakin Skywalker, when you think of the Emperor, I mean, they're always, in control and, very, stentorian, just very, deliberate and, controlled in their actions. Whereas Kylo Ren is just, he's a child having a tantrum, but he uses the Force. So he's someone to fear. The guy is a loose cannon. He's freaking dangerous.
As somebody pointed out on Reddit, basically, Kylo Ren is Anakin done right.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
And I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
That is brilliant.
Just like the temper tantrums, and it's like the fact that they trust him with anything.
Because he has such control of the Force that if you cross this crazy nut job, he'll kill you. That
is nuts. Because, yeah, he just spazzes out, and then he has to finish his training. Shit, don't train him anymore. No. For how powerful he is, and we don't know how powerful Rey is, but...
Rey is more powerful. She got the lightsaber.
I know, but it's just like, you still think, though, he would be able to defeat Rey just because he's been trained. I mean, powerful in the Force or not, a novice is a novice.
Yeah.
And she learned it so quickly. That was one of my things about the movie, is how well she picked up things that Luke had to spend all that time on Dagobah to figure out.
Yes.
She got a crash course.
And he was a whiny little...
Oh, my God. Yeah, she can't be Luke's kid, because she's not a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, and and then there is that whiny streak in the Skywalker line. There really is. You look at Anakin. You look
Anakin,
at
bitch.
Luke.
Luke, whiny bitch. Daisy Ridley, amazing.
Daisy Ridley. It's like, I want her on my team, man. Absolutely.
God, if anybody's going to bring balance, it's going to be Rey.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But I think Adam Driver does just an amazing job. What do you think about the scene where he takes off the mask? I mean, I kind of knew it was just going to be Adam Driver underneath, but just for a second, did you think, okay, we're going to get something here?
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There was that one, little element to it. And I think just kind of shows you, just how much of a douche Kylo Ren is the fact that he's wearing a mask for no reason other than he thinks it makes him look cool.
And Hans tells him that straight up. Take off your mask. You don't need it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love that part of it. It's like he is. I think this makes him one of the most dangerous villains in the Star Wars universe, is because he's so messed up.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like he's scary.
Yeah, he
and
really
now
is.
Now his face is all sliced up. Now he's pissed.
Yeah, exactly.
He just pissed off a bee.
Yeah. Now, how did he get off the planet after they blew up the Star Killer planet? How did he get off?
Do we actually know that he did?
We know that he did because he's going to be back in the next movie. That has been confirmed.
Yeah, but we didn't see him get off that planet. Maybe he'll be a Force ghost.
I know. Who got off the planet? Did anybody get off the planet? And how did they? They didn't, first of all, it's like, 10 minutes until the thing fires. Well, 20 minutes later, they're still messing around on the planet. Did you have problems with the time setup?
It was kind of weird for a bit. I was like, what time is it now?
Yeah. And then suddenly when you think there's absolutely no time for them to get off the planet, they probably got off the planet.
I mean, if Kylo Ren got off the planet, there's still a chance Han Solo got off the planet.
Well, yeah, with his guts all cut out, but yeah.
No, he didn't have it cut out. He was just sliced. That cauterized and didn't hit anything. He could survive for a bit.
Falling down a bottomless pit and then having a planet implode on him. Yeah, he's fine.
No, but okay.
It's only a flesh wound.
Okay, so hear me out. Luke fell down a bottomless pit, and then he ended up in a chute that brought him to the bottom of Cloud City, and he survived. We don't know what Han Solo fell into, but if he fell into some sort of thing like that and he could be saved, there was plenty of time for him to get off that planet if there was time for Kylo Ren.
He fell into the center of a planet. No.
Dude, just stop pissing on my parade.
There's just no way. And something, at this point, if they brought him back, if he pulled a Marvel, okay, where every major character that dies comes back to life, I will lose so much respect for all the creative people involved with Star Wars. Seriously, if you bring back Han Solo through some miracle of
him never dying,
Force, yeah, no, you can't do it. He has to be dead. He's got to stay dead.
Tim, if you were to hear yourself a week ago saying this shit,
I know, isn't that's kind of freaking me out right now.
You've gone to the dark side.
But it's like, but you can't, commit to it. All right. We killed off a major character. Have the balls to commit to that, because it was a ballsy move to do that to begin with.
Yeah.
To kill off the most beloved hero in Star Wars.
And then he lands on Earth and becomes Indiana Jones.
I know. Mind blown.
God. I don't even want to see this Han Solo spin-off they're talking about. It's just not going to be right.
I'll give it a shot. Let's see who they cast in it first.
Shia LaBeouf.
Stop it. Just stop it right now.
Lance Bass.
Lance Bass. Good God.
As Indiana Jones.
That's about as obscure as you can get. Good Lord. So what happens next? Episode 8, synopsis. Luke trains Rey in the ways of the Force, while the First Order continues to advance, even though they blew up their Star Killer planet.
Why
do the bad guys just ever? They never learn. Okay, they blew up 2 Death Stars for the Empire. They blow up an entire freaking planet for the First Order. But yeah, we're going to keep coming back. I mean, would you sign up for that team? Would you want to be part of that? Because every single time they're about to do some, horrible villainous thing, everybody dies.
I don't know why they keep going back to the same well.
I mean, how stupid are they? Seriously.
I want to know how long it took him to build that thing. Because if you remember, at the end of episode 3, you could see the Death Star was under construction. And that wasn't finished until...
Episode 4.
Episode 4. And the Death Star was under construction for some time before we saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did it take him to build this whole planet? Was that under construction during Jedi or something?
I don't know. We'll see the First Order would not have existed during Jedi because it was still the Empire. The Empire had not fallen, and it also,
Empire stuff?
And from what we saw in The Force Awakens, the Battle of Jakku seems to be the point where the Empire fell. That's kind of an assumption that's being made. So that happened after the Battle of Endor. So the Empire still had some life in it after Return of the Jedi.
I think I need to call up somebody who knows their stuff about Star Wars to explain this. Let me call George Lucas and be a douche. Hey George, can you explain something to me on this?
Well, they wouldn't use his stories or his treatment for this new trilogy.
Now, did he see?
So
money
he
from
would
this
not
movie?
have come up with a Battle of Jakku. I think in his mind, everything ended at Endor.
Now he saw money from this movie, right? Even though he sold the franchise.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Let me back that up. I mean, he was certainly at the center of the $4 billion that Disney paid for the rights.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean he continues to get like residuals
Yes.
and royalties for continuing to use the characters? I would say he'd almost have to.
Yeah.
I mean, how stupid would you have to be to say, yeah, you can have it all. I don't want a nickel of this anymore.
Yeah, so I wonder what that deal is. That was interesting to me. That's how that would work.
Yes.
But he's not seeing a huge chunk of it, though.
No. Yeah, they only gave him $4 billion. So
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure he's just fine.
How much was the highest grossing movie? Was it Avatar?
Avatar is the highest grossing movie.
How much did that one make? That one made...
And Titanic is behind it. Titanic and Avatar are the only two films ever to take in in excess of $2 billion worldwide.
So if Star Wars hits that mark, then Disney is getting half of their investment back with one movie.
And that's just talking about the gross. And that's not counting merchandising, which will be even higher than that, significantly higher than that. Yeah, Disney made that okay on this deal. They really did.
Damn. They could just like whip out turds after this and they'd still be making a profit.
Yeah, but how much pressure must J.J. Abrams have been feeling? I mean, he's an accomplished director. He knows his stuff. He's a good writer, but the entire future of the franchise, let's be serious, hinged on how well this movie was accepted. And if it had been just okay, it would have been, it just would have been the death knell for the franchise. I really believe that.
I think there's more pressure on Rian Johnson now than there ever was on JJ.
I think JJ took the pressure off. Because for the reason that I said earlier, it was so important for J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan to get everything right to reintroduce the franchise and to hit all the touch points that would resonate with diehard fans. The next chapter of Star Wars, Episode 8, that pressure has been removed because now no one is going to expect it to be the number one movie in the history of film.
But I would feel more pressure just because JJ got it right. And if I was Rian Johnson, I'd be like, people don't know me as well as they know JJ Abrams, but I know I'm accomplished. I mean, I would just be nervous as hell. That'd be too much pressure for me.
Okay, I'm still going to say I think it takes the pressure off. I think JJ Abrams had the most pressure to do it. If Rian Johnson stumbles, people are still going to come back for Episode 9. If J.J. Abrams had totally tanked it, people would not be coming back for Episode 8.
Okay, let's go to that universe for a bit. Star Wars Episode 7 flopped. Everybody hated it. It stopped making money.
It's worse
after
than the
first
Phantom
week.
Menace, okay?
And people know it going out. What happens?
Disney's stock takes a dive.
Holy crap.
So, I mean, so it was that kind of pressure. And I just don't think, I mean, not that there isn't pressure, there is, because, you know, it's still a Star Wars film. I mean, you have a high expectation to live up to, but I just don't think that subsequent films, especially now that we're going to get a Star Wars film, whether it's a saga film or one of the, you know, the standalone films, we're going to get one every year now for the next 4 years.
That's a lot of Star Wars.
That's a lot of Star Wars. So it's because Disney's committed to the franchise and it's going to make money, but I don't think you're ever going to see the expectation or the anticipation equal to The Force Awakens.
No, this was a huge event that needed to happen with Star Wars. We needed something to bring our spirits up after the prequels.
Yes, exactly.
And they just hit it out of the park.
Absolutely.
I think I don't believe this movie exceeded my expectations, but it met my expectations and they were ridiculously high that there really wasn't any room for it to exceed at all.
Yeah. You know, and I'm not sure on that scale exactly where I fit on that, other than to say I loved every moment of it. So I don't know if that exceeded my expectations or it met it or whatever. It was just this is just a kick-ass flick.
I mean, it was exactly what I hoped, wanted, and could
Desired.
to be. It was perfect. It was a perfect film for me. But I still cannot bring myself to rate it against the others.
And that speculation has already started. I've seen at least one media site. I'm going to say comicbook.com, but I don't think so. It might be Vulture. It might have been Vulture. Anyway, whoever it was, there's at least one article out there, certainly more, already hailing The Force Awakens as the best Star Wars movie ever. And I think it's way too soon to heap that on top of it, because The Force Awakens doesn't exist without the original Star Wars.
But that's where I get hung up on, and I need to get myself out of that mindset. Because if I am putting that in perspective, then it can only be Star Wars number one is number one. Not number one, episode 1, but episode 4.
Episode 4 is number 1.
I mean, you have to look at them as standalones that aren't related to the other ones, I think, to do it, but I can't give myself that amount of separation on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel too guilty to place it within the original 3.
Yeah, and I wasn't as into Star Wars then as I am now. So I will say this is the most excited I have ever been to experience a Star Wars film in theaters. Just because, I mean, I remember really enjoying Return of the Jedi, but not on this level. But does that make The Force Awakens a better movie? No, not necessarily. It just caught, it is, I mean, this is more about experiencing the moment and capturing, the here and now and the shared experience of being able to enjoy it with so many people.
I just can't. I don't know. I mean, it's better than the prequels. It's up there in quality with the original 3.
It is top 3. It is top 3, definitely.
I just can't bring myself to even rank the original 3. That's hard for me to do.
Empire, Star Wars, Jedi. I never have a problem with that.
I do, because I love number 1. I love episode 4. But then it depends on my mood is my answer. Sometimes I want to watch Jedi. Sometimes I want to watch Empire. They all, rotate to me. And I feel like that's such a cop-out answer.
No, it's not, because you enjoy the collective storytelling.
And I believe
it's almost like you treat the original trilogy as a single film.
Yeah, pretty much. And so that being said, I feel like Episode 7 has added to that film.
I agree.
It's welcomed in there more than the prequels are. I mean, not, and that's not even putting the quality of the prequels into the mix. Just the feel and everything about the prequels feels like a whole different franchise.
Oh, very much so. I mean, even the look is entirely different.
And actually talking about the quality, Episode 7 somehow made the prequels look even worse.
Yeah, it did.
They are laughably bad. It's so crazy.
Especially since you don't need to see the prequels at all
No.
to appreciate The Force Awakens, because everything it references is the original trilogy. Everything.
Hmm. It doesn't make sense how the prequels even exist in this universe.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't even look like a Star Wars.
No, they don't. And that was another, unanimous observation, is how much The Force Awakens looks like a Star Wars movie, and you feel it within minutes. And I'm talking, after the opening, music and the crawl and all that. But once you are on Jakku and you're seeing everything that's going on, it feels like a Star Wars movie.
It's like George Lucas forgot how to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just feeling his way in the dark on the whole prequel thing. It's so different. Episode 7 is
the
great.
thing that's kind of interesting about that, another article that I read, and again, I should be taking notes better, but it was the person who wrote the article said that George Lucas, when he did the prequels, had all the right story elements. He just didn't know it.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of explanation to see where the writer was going with this, but he makes a valid point. If you watch the storyline of how Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader and all of that, the storyline itself is valid. It works. Yeah. The problem is you've got just some absolutely awful dialogue and some of the worst casting choices you could possibly make. And that's what destroys the movie more than, or destroys the first trilogy more than anything else.
And how it's in the past, but still kind of in the future, as far as the look of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely, the look of the prequels was trying too hard to look more polished than the original trilogy. And that hurt it. And
very badly.
Yeah. And there was so much CG that when you actually had a scene that was shot with a live
studio audience,
a live studio audience, or, a live background, where there's real rocks and trees and flowers in the background and water, and it's not all CG. It's alarming. It's startling at how bad it makes the CG animation look.
I feel like it's almost like a Roger Rabbit situation. You're watching a cartoon that just happens to have people in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not impressive to me.
Roger Rabbit totally nailed it.
Oh, absolutely. Roger Rabbit knew what it wanted to be. That was Zemeckis, right?
That was Zemeckis. Oh. Yeah. A great technical director, not so great actually, he's kind of like a George Lucas. He's a terrific technical director. He had a good trilogy under his belt, and then it all went to shit. He can do just remarkable things, in camera and in post-production. But as far as scripting and storyline, not so much. He did all right with, I don't know, what, Back to the Future? Was that one that you like? Yeah.
Oh, I love Back to the Future.
And I've always thought, like, movies like Forrest Gump, I think Forrest Gump gets remarkable performances out of its stars, but I think it's overrated. I've always thought it was overrated. The Polar Express is an awful film.
Creepy as hell.
Any of the the motion capture films that he did, the Christmas Carol one that he did, technically it's like, yeah, hey, wow, that's some cool stuff that you did. But, story and character wise, awful.
Hey, but I did love Mars Needs Moms.
Oh, which
remember that one?
Which I believe is Disney's biggest money loser ever.
I think it was to the tune of like 130 million.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I didn't even see that one. Did you see that one?
I saw some of it. I did. I could not see it all the way through. And the thing that was so sad about that is Berkeley Breathed did the story. And he's the creator of Bloom County, which has now made a comeback.
Oh, that's right.
On social media. But yeah, I was so disappointed because I really, really like him, and for them to do just such a horrible job on that movie, that was tragic.
That was, yeah. Well, that was, I don't think, his fault. No, we'll blame everybody on that one.
Yeah, we'll blame Zemeckis on that one.
Oh, another aspect of the movie that I don't want people to forget: the score. John Williams.
83 years old, still nails it.
God, it's because I've been listening to it as we've been recording and a little bit between. Very solid score. Though John Williams has never missed a step.
No.
Even in the prequels, he gave us Duel of Fates.
Very true. Yeah, and the thing I find curious too is the Motion Picture Academy just announced the films that have made the cut for the next step of the nomination process for original score. And John Williams and Star Wars: The Force Awakens are in the mix.
Ooh.
After all these years, how can you still call it an original score? Because you're still basing it on elements from movies almost 40 years ago. I don't get what the criteria is for calling it an original score. To me, it's an adapted score. It's like, yes,
there's new themes.
It has new themes, it has new music in it, but it draws so much from, all the Star Wars themes that we've heard up to this point. I just find it
touches
odd.
on them, but I think there's a more difference than I think you're giving it credit for.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like he's just, repeating himself over and over again, but I'm just thinking, at what point does it cease to be an original score? I don't know.
I'm really bummed that the soundtrack doesn't have the song from the Cantina or whatever.
Okay.
None of that reggae beat.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's kind of catchy.
That was. It's not
It's actually.
I haven't. I have the soundtrack, and I have not listened to the whole thing through.
I did a search for it on Spotify, and it didn't come up. And I did it like 10 minutes later after midnight, and suddenly it was on there. I was like, yes.
Nice.
I love Spotify. But no, a very solid soundtrack, or score, I should say. Rey's theme is a good one. I also liked the very last piece has a really good theme with the Jedi steps. So those are my two favorite tracks off the album. If you care. I
care. No, I really care. It makes me want to go back and give them another listen.
It's always a different experience. Like, I would say, if you're going to view the movie 2 more times, maybe after your second viewing, kind of go and listen to the soundtrack a little bit. And then, because when you are familiar with the music in a movie, it totally changes the movie when you see it.
And how it's tied into certain scenes and certain characters. Absolutely.
Yeah, so like knowing the music, even like Lord of the Rings changed completely because I was so familiar with that score, and it just kind of tells you the story. I don't know.
It does.
This has been a fantastic year for me cinematically. I got to see Jurassic World. I got to see the Back to the Future trilogy on the big screen, and a new Star Wars movie. I'm loving it. Call me McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Well, that will do it for this Star Wars special spectacular edition.
The Star Wars special spectacular spoiler whatever, yeah.
The Mouse Castle ... Dreamcoat edition of Inside the Mouse Castle. This is a fun one.
This was definitely fun.
I'm glad that we decided to do spoilers, because do you know how lame this podcast would have been?
It would have been over in about 5 minutes instead of droning on for over an hour.
Well, yeah, that one guy, when he did that thing, that one person that may or may not have done that thing, that's what it would have been.
Yeah, when we can't really talk about it. Not that it was a major character or anything.
I think it was off air I was talking when I was in the theater, and Han Solo dies, and right after that happened, 2 people came from the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting there going, I'd hate to be the person that they're sitting next to. Like, suddenly you just hear, what the hell, are you serious?
You'll never guess what happened.
Like, I wouldn't want that burden. I would not want that burden to be like, dude, while you were in the bathroom,
Han Solo got killed by his kid.
What? No, I'd be like, no, you'll figure it out. I'm not breaking that news to you.
Yeah. Oh, you know, it was kind of funny, and I gotta get in a reference, at least one show. I played through the Force Awakens playset on Disney Infinity, which the Star Wars play sets that they've done, and they did it for, for the original trilogy, the prequels, and now for the Force Awakens, they basically do follow the storyline. And I was really curious to see how the game played through. And while you never have a scene in the Force Awakens Disney Infinity game where Han Solo dies, he is conspicuously missing at the end of the game, at the end of the cutscene where you see Rey and Chewbacca fly off in the Millennium Falcon with no explanation what happened to Han Solo, who had appeared many times along the way.
That's weird they would let that slide.
They didn't explain why he wasn't there, and it was just Rey and Chewbacca in the Falcon, and
but if anybody
it ends with them flying off.
It would have been brought up.
Yeah, and you do battle Kylo Ren in the game, and you defeat him. You don't kill him because obviously he's going to be back, and it doesn't have all the drama with the Starkiller base. It's just you've escaped, the confines of the base itself, and you're battling Kylo Ren out in the woods, and that's kind of where it ends. But yeah, Han Solo was not there at the end.
I think this is what the podcast is now. Just every week we come back and we talk about The Force Awakens.
Okay, I could do that.
Inside The Force Awakens.
What'd you see this week? Same thing.
Same thing. But no, that's it for this edition of Inside the Mouse Castle. Don't forget to visit us at themousecastle.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/themousecastle, and on Twitter at Inside the MC.
And of course, we're also on Instagram, Tumblr, and Pinterest. And make sure that you subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Is that it? Any more Star Wars stuff?
Star Wars.
All right.
Go see it. It's in theaters now.
Go see it. Yeah, you might have heard something about it. And this is the one opportunity. Merry Christmas.
Oh,
this is our Christmas show. You realize this was our Christmas show.
This is oh my God, I didn't even realize that. I am still not used to Arizona Christmas. It feels like it's spring.
It is. Well, Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, filthy animal.
And we'll see you guys all next time inside the Mouse Castle.
See you. Christmas. That's this week. Holy shit.
I know. No shit.